Hey friends, Dr. Mary Starr, the Total Wellness Doc, and I am excited to be here with you today. If we haven't met before, let me just tell you a little bit about me and my health journey, and then we're going to talk a little bit about yours journey today. All right, so every Wednesday or sometimes Thursday, we get over and we talk about your health. We talk about chiropractic. What did we talk about last week? We talk about back pain. We talk about essential oil, and these are just things that I love and that I've been passionate about for over 20 years. So I'm known as the Total Wellness Doc, and prior to being here in this kind of stage in my life at 46, where I could say that I'm retired from hands-on chiropractic, but go back 20 plus years ago. How about 30 years ago? How about 40 years ago? I was that kid that was always sick, always had sinus infections, always was taking amoxicillin or some kind of over-the-counter drug. I was the kid. Anybody else, right? Anybody else remember amoxicillin? Like, did you take it all the time? Did you have a lot of sinus issues when you were a kid, or a lot of allergies when you were a kid? That was me all the time. I was always like puffy. I was overweight. I was always like the biggest kid in my class, always at least 30 pounds bigger than most all the girls in my class, and just always kind of had a sugar craving. Anybody else, like, they grow up like that, like always had to eat the cookies, the cakes, you know what I mean, things like that. One of my cousins is watching right now, and if you grew up in an Italian family like me, it was always like mangia mangia, right? So it was always eating, and all family activities were about eating. All it was birthday parties and eating. I used to get rewards for a good piano lesson every week. My mom would get two she'd go to the Burn Dairy and she would get two, like, M&Ms or mint M&Ms, or like little bags of candy. One I could have then, and then one I would have at school the next day. So food was kind of always like either a reward, or it was about being together, being out. That my friend Karen here, she's a wellness coach and a weight loss coach. She said she grew up in the South. Everything about that. And my cousin's so nice. He says I've never been overweight. But according to my BMI, right, body mass index, I have just recently gone from being obese to now just overweight. Obese to overweight. Do you know about BMI, you guys? Look it up. Body mass index. It's important. It's not the only thing that's important, though. Of course, how much fat, percentage of fat that you have on your body, and your actual abdominal, like weighing, like measuring around your waist. That's kind of a big thing there as well. So yeah, so I struggle with that. I wrote a ebook called How to Keep Your Hand Out of the Cookie Jar, probably a decade or more ago. It's a cute little ebook, and it talks a lot about sugar and how it can become a monster in our body. It doesn't really talk about emotional eating or anything like that, but it talks about specifically something called candida and yeast. Have you heard of that? Anybody heard of candida, yeast? You might have heard of thrush, right? Thrush is a kind of like white coating that gets in the mouth. If you've known anyone who's been on chemotherapy, they lose all their good bacteria. They get a lot of this thrush. Connect with me if you have somebody who's struggling with that, because I have a really good natural remedy that's worked for so many people for so long. Okay, so I had this high candida, and high candida will lead to a lot of allergies. It will be like a monster inside you, like, feed me. You gotta give me, even if it's just that one little piece of chocolate, that one little thing that you had. So I struggled as a kid. When I was in school with my cousin there, I started playing sports. When I got into high school and started, like running and playing soccer and just being more active. So I did slim down then. And then our school closed, and when we were still in high school, in my senior year, we were like all split up. So I stopped exercising, just was working. I was working at amazing little store, but literally I had all the candy you can imagine. Fresh made Italian bread. Garofalo's was the name of this little store. Fresh made Italian bread at my fingertips all the time. Sausage. We used to have hot food like macaroni and cheese and things like that. So I was just eating a lot of food I shouldn't have been eating. Probably a lot of soda. I can't remember so much, but I know that's when like I started getting allergies again and just not having a lot of energy. And also I remember I got my first yeast infection too. So that's a really kind of a sign that your body is definitely out of balance, that I was staying up late, a lot of stress and stuff. So now I go off to college, and college, I think for many of us, when we get away from, it's like, okay, we can eat what we want, and we have the dining hall pass, and there's ice cream every day if you want it. And I never learned the skills of how to eat healthy, how to make good choices, how to really take control of my health. So I remember, especially as I got up into my college years, because I was in college a long time to be a chiropractor, I remember every time after lunch, I would fall asleep. No matter whose class it was, I would be like dozing, right? And I always sat in the back, so hopefully he or she wouldn't see me. And I would be dozing. And that's because, right? Because when you don't know what to eat or how to eat, or you don't understand that, even though it might be kind of a healthy carbohydrate or something like that you're spiking, or I'm having this giant juice with everything that I'm eating, I'm having all this sugar, my body's got to process it all, and then boom, right? I'm going to crash back down, and I'm going to be tired. I had a grandfather. Every time he ate, he would take a nap right afterwards. Always take a nap right afterwards. It was kind of a joke. But anyway, back to my story. So I started putting on weight again, though. Although I was being active and I liked to do aerobics, and I got into soccer again and playing tennis, and me and my friends, we would have these little triathlons and do that. And I think that activity really helped to manage, my choices. I remember having a Coca-Cola every day because that caffeine and all that sugar would keep me awake, or every night, I should say, so that I could study, right? So that I could stay awake to study. And that's really when the stress of school, in my later years in chiropractic, the stress of school became a lot. And of course, still not knowing about eating, and then throwing a little drinking in on the weekends and stuff like that, I really started to put on the pounds. And that's when I became, I would say, in the overweight ranges, right? Overweight. So I'm not going to even tell you what my range, because I'm, 5'4", your ranges might be different, but I went from having a healthy BMI to being overweight. Okay. Then you throw in, so here I am graduating chiropractic school and in college, and I think I'm so healthy. I remember getting into this wedding dress and feeling pretty good because I got married. I graduated, got married, and started a chiropractic practice all like within 3 weeks of each other. It was crazy. It was a crazy time in my life. I got into practice with a woman who started a wellness center. So she had a startup, and I just put my heart and soul into that as well, even though I didn't own it. And then started my own wellness centers, outside of that, and just, worked. And I had a thriving chiropractic and wellness practice, but then I also had another natural health practice that I still have today, 21 years later, helping people with things like premium essential oils and nutritional supplements and getting the toxins out of their house. So I was just working. So I had 10 years, when I really think about it, that I was a workaholic. I would go not run, but I would teach classes 2 or 3 times a week. So I would be in practice, and then afterwards I would go to, 45 minutes to an hour away, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 3 hours away to teach a class. usually in someone's home. Sometimes it was a venue, things like that. I would teach, I would pour so much of myself out, answering questions, helping people. I mean, the stories were miraculous, and I wouldn't regret ever doing what I did. I mean, because it changed people's lives. There's people alive today, I can tell you without a doubt, because of the work that I did in those 10 years. But I remember, like, after doing those events, like literally pulling in the McDonald's drive-through, getting a fish sandwich, French fries, a hot fudge sundae, probably a Coke or something like that too, like all that food, and feeling like crap afterwards. In fact, I remember one night I threw up. My gallbladder was so mad at me. It just like, hey, what are you doing? You're teaching about health, you're doing all this stuff, and you're eating all these things. And I didn't understand anything about total, like I didn't really understand the core of total wellness, which I believe is also involves your spiritual health. But I didn't understand that I was a kind of person that I could take on a lot of people's stuff, you know, because people would share things with me, and they just had a habit of sharing a lot of things with me, whether their marriage was good or what happened in their childhood, you know, whatever it was. And I would just kind of leave those, whether I was working one-on-one with a client or I was in like a venue or just doing a home class or whatever, and I would leave that, and it's like all that stuff was on me and on my shoulders. So I would eat to numb myself, because there's amazing dopamine that can happen when you eat that stuff, right? It's made to make you addicted to it. It's made to make you addicted to it. So that's when I really started to move into this overweightness. And so long story short, I end up taking a business seminar that literally helps me kind of make a 360 in my career and all that. So I went from working like 60, 70 hours down to 30 hours, getting my priorities right, getting my life right, getting my finances right, all of these things. And then after a couple of years of doing that, I saw huge gains in my career. I saw huge gains in my marriage. I started having babies, and things were on a much better track. So then I sought out coaching, right? Someone to help me to get healthy. So shortly after I had my son, I had my first personal trainer. Anybody ever have a personal trainer, like someone you go to a gym and work with, like you pay them, right? So I was also being able to afford it. I think back then it might have been, I don't know, $35 or $40, $45 and a session. And I started having some really good gains, and I started feeling better and stuff. And then my coaching, just because of maybe even finances at that time too, but just as things shifted, I started working out with a trainer online, right? It was DVDs back then. And I did a program that really got me fit, a lot fitter. It took, 3 months or something like that. And then I continued on that, started eating healthy, started understanding about health. You see, I was in that world of knowing, but I wasn't doing, right? Knowing, but I wasn't doing. And that got me healthy, especially after my first miscarriage. I had my son, had a miscarriage, and got me healthy at a healthy way, feeling good, all of that. And then I was training with this, DVD trainer, building muscle. It felt amazing, and got pregnant with my daughter, right? So I got pregnant with my daughter. And I really, really believe that my physical health, inside, outside, all of that was contributed to that miracle, because she truly was a miracle. And then my life kind of took some different turns, and things were stressful that I didn't prepare for. We had moves, we had radical changes to our life and our lifestyle, and I didn't mentally, I think, prepare for all that. Me being an only child, now having 2 children with no parents around to help, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just was a very different, and I had to learn to be a mom, and I poured again. Instead of my clients, I was pouring into my family, my kids, and I was doing too much for everyone, right? Around me, even in, I guess, business too. But I was giving, 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 and getting depleted. And so I think right about 2013, so this is when I go into being obese, right? So my BMI, body mass index, goes from being overweight after having 2 kids and then goes into the obese, like high numbers that I've never seen. In fact, it was equivalent to, let me drink my water here, higher than when I was pregnant, okay? Which is significant. Now, in that time, and just up to about a couple of years ago, I've had a total of 6 miscarriages. So I have 2 babies that are alive and 6 miscarriages. And again, I didn't mentally, physically, emotionally deal with those things in the proper way. So it manifested itself in fatigue and hormone imbalance, so many different things. And then we have another giant move and just a lot of change. And then, of course, in 2018, my husband has a horrific bicycle accident where he almost loses his life. He's in the hospital for 21 days. Now, I'm sharing my story here, but I bet that most of you have had seasons of stress, of trauma, of maybe you've had a miscarriage. Maybe you've struggled to have a baby. Maybe you don't understand why your body isn't obeying, whether you work out all the time, right? Maybe you struggle with a lot of yeast infections or acne or whatever it is. You're just like not getting what is happening. And even though I teach this and I study this and I get to hang out with some of the top amazing health people in their field, I wasn't a lot practicing what I preach, right? Wasn't practicing what I preach. So through the years, I've hired coaches. I've had virtual coaches. I've had trainers. I have done Pilates, private Pilates sessions 2 times in my life, which really was amazing to rehabilitate my core and my back. I'm actually very grateful, though it was, very costly, but it was a very good investment. Much like higher than physical therapy, in my opinion, higher than physical therapy. It was phenomenal. So I've understand exercise. I understand health and nutrition. And then, there's all these new things that happen, right? Intermittent fasting, ketone diet. I have done all of these things. I have. But have I really followed through? Liver cleansing. In fact, I probably have tons of books back here. How to cleanse your health, the bone broth diet. I have reshaping it all, the hormone fix. Like I studied, I do that a year ago. What diet was that I did? Oh, I forget. I've got so many books there. But a year ago, I was on a celery juicing kick and I felt the difference and I was doing amazing. And then I switched over to, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fast 2 times a week. And I did. I was able to release, I think 18 pounds or something like that. But I never have had a follow through to get past some of the barriers, right? Get past some of these barriers, some of the mental barriers I have, some of the barriers of understanding what my body needs, resting, and I don't even want to get into all the things that I'm doing right now to kind of break through that, what I'm going to be doing over this next year, 2 years, however long it takes. But I say all this on my health journey because here I am at 46, and some of you are my same age, maybe you're younger, maybe you're older. And the point of it is health is really the only true thing that you have. And then some people say, well, maybe I don't even have that. But the only thing that you have that can make such a significant, and I'm talking about total wellness, can make such a significant change in all areas of your life, right? All areas of life. Now, we all know that person who's amazingly fit and skinny, but their relationships suck, right? But I believe that total wellness can truly shift so much for you. And I've had these wonderful glimpses of it through the years. And I've seen it with my patients, I've seen it with my clients. I've seen so many great things. But now this is my year. This is your year, right? And years to come, where it's time for us to pick up. It's time for us to follow through. And if we fall off the wagon or whatever we're doing, we got to get back up, because we don't know. This year showed us like nothing other. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Like, we don't know. We have no control over it either. But we do have control over our own health. We do. And I don't mean health like, taking a shot on the arm. I'm talking about taking personal responsibility. And the word I want to talk to you about, which I'm about to go sit in front of an amazing trainer, is commitment. Commitment. I'm about to take myself and a group of individuals who, some of them, yes, maybe it's their health they need to deal with, but a lot of them are going to be there for business. Some are going to be there for follow through, all of that. We are about to go sit in front of a virtual trainer who's going to talk to us about commitment. Because what I recognize all through my health journey. Now, when I was a kid, I didn't know better, right? But I eventually became a chiropractor who knew how to get resources, who has, the ability to study and learn. But I never had that follow through. I never had that strong commitment. And so at 7:00 Central, myself and a group of people, we're going to get on a Zoom, and we are going to talk about commitment. We're going to actually talk a little bit about Dolly Parton, one of my friend Karen's favorite people. And we are going to sit in front of a woman who has released, get this, 166 pounds. 166 pounds. And she's going to talk to us about commitment. And it is going to help you, friend, get off the fence. It's going to help you, like, okay, I really need to quit smoking. Why am I still smoking? I know it's bad for me, but I like it, and I like the dopamine in it. Or I really need to stop having whatever. I need to cut back on the wine, or I really need to get to the gym. I really need to start walking. I need to stop making excuses, and I need to commit. So that's what we're going to talk about at 7:00. If you would like the link to that Zoom training that we're going to be on, I'd be happy to give that to you. But let me know, or if you're watching this after the fact, ask for the recording and we will get that to you. Okay. So what did I start out talking about? All right. I talked a little bit about my health journey. I talked about your health journey. They both start with a commitment. I'm excited to what's happened to me. In fact, I'm super excited because I'm let you in a little known secret. Next week is the season premiere of The Total Transformation. And you're going to love it. I know some of you who are watching right now, you love those shows already, but I am on a YouTube version of The Total Transform. Like, The Biggest Loser? Well, I'm on a YouTube version of it. And I am so excited. Season one contestants, like, they ranged, right? So I think there was somebody hitting almost 400, and there was a woman in there who started like 160. So there was a range of them. I think total, was there 7 or 8 of them, but they lost 300 pounds. The two men in the group, one lost, I think, 70 pounds. The other man lost over 50 pounds. There's, the women were averaging over 30 pounds in 12 weeks, not giving up anything, not a ketosis diet, not anything, but learning to change this, learning to have a total. So I am so excited, so super excited to have been picked for that show. I'm super excited. I hope that you will watch it. And I will give you the link to where you can subscribe and make sure that you get the notices. It's going to be next Wednesday that's going to premiere. Okay, so now you got two choices. Are you going to get off the fence and get on to your total transformation, get into your health journey? Are you going to get off the fence and say, you know what, whether it's business or your marriage or parenting or homeschooling, you know, whatever it is, are you going to get off this fence? Are you going to make a commitment, right? That's your choice. If you want to join us, let me know in the comments there, or if you want that recording. And the third thing is that I hope you will give me some cheers and subscribe to my to where I'm going to be on the total transformation, and just awesome. There's no voting, but hey, you can vote for me with comments and likes and all of that. All right. Thank you, friends. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.